You know, the biggest problems in the world, they often aren't solved by the most obvious answers. Nope. They're solved when someone looks at the problem completely sideways and finds a clever solution that was hiding in plain sight all along. Today, we're going to dive into exactly that kind of thinking.
Okay, so to get our minds into that sideways thinking mode, let's start with a classic riddle, a little mental warm-up.
All right, listen to this. A man is sentenced to death. He has to choose between 3 rooms. Room 1, a firing squad. Room 2, a blazing fire. And room 3 is full of tigers that haven't eaten for 6 months. Which room should he choose? I'll give you a second to think about it.
The answer? He should walk right into the room with the tigers. Why? Well, because tigers that haven't eaten in 6 months are dead. It's that aha moment, right? The second you shift your perspective, the scariest option suddenly becomes the only safe one.
And that is the whole point of what we're talking about today. This exact kind of clever, out-of-the-box thinking isn't just for riddles. It's being used right now to tackle the most serious challenges on the planet. So, to really understand these solutions, we first have to know what the problems are. And believe it or not, there's actually an official to-do list for the entire world.
This list comes from the United Nations, the global organization that brings pretty much all the countries together to try and maintain peace and work on shared goals. And they've boiled it down to 17 key global priorities. These are the big ones, the major hurdles we all need to clear as a global community.
And this isn't some vague, far-off dream. It's a concrete 15-year plan that actually started back in 2016. The target for hitting all these goals is 2030. So, yeah, the clock is definitely ticking.
These 17 goals, they're called the Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, and they cover a huge range of issues. We're talking everything from ending poverty, to ensuring good health, to creating a sustainable environment. Each one is a massive challenge, for sure, but it's also a massive opportunity for some of that clever new thinking.
So how do you even begin to tackle a to-do list this big? Well, one of the most powerful approaches that's gaining steam is a whole new kind of business model, the social enterprise.
Now, a social enterprise isn't just a regular business that donates some money to charity. No, its primary, #1 purpose is to solve a social or environmental problem. Doing good isn't an add-on. It's the entire reason the company exists in the first place. It is woven right into its DNA.
To really get this, it helps to compare a social enterprise to a more traditional approach you're probably already familiar with. So let's look at 2 very different models for making an impact.
Okay, on one side you've got the social enterprise, which is proactive. The business is created from day one to solve a problem. On the other side, you have corporate social responsibility. You've probably heard of it as CSR. This is reactive. An existing business decides to add on practices to create a positive social impact. It's really the difference between a mission being your core DNA versus a mission being an added layer.
Let's make this super concrete with 2 real-world companies that just brilliantly illustrate this difference.
First up, Tom's Shoes. This quote really says it all. The company wasn't created just to sell shoes and then later they decided to do some good. Nope, it was created in order to do good by selling shoes. The mission came first.
Their entire business model is built around this mission. You've heard of their buy one, give one model, right? That's the perfect example. The business activity, selling shoes, is completely, inseparably linked to the social impact, giving shoes. They also reinvest their profits into social change and create jobs in developing countries. The mission is part of every single step.
Now, let's contrast that with a legendary company, Levi's. When Levi's started way back when, their goal was simple and clear: sell really great, durable jeans. Their incredible social and environmental programs came much, much later. They were reactive.
And look, Levi's does fantastic work. Their Waterless initiative, which started in 2011, is a brilliant example of CSR. They completely re-engineered how they make jeans and saved over 2 billion liters of water. They even share their techniques with other companies. It's hugely impactful, but it was an initiative that was added to their existing business, not the reason the business was founded.
And this really highlights the key difference. Both of these companies create positive change, which is amazing, but their foundations are just fundamentally different. One was literally born with a mission at its core, the other adopted a mission along the way.
So what does this actually look like in practice? Well, there are a bunch of ways to build a social enterprise. You could build your mission around who you employ, creating jobs for people who face barriers. You could build it around your product, designing something that directly solves the need, just like Tom's. Or you could build it around your profits and dedicate a certain portion of them to a cause.
Which, of course, brings us right back to where we started, solving problems by looking at them differently. Whether it's a riddle about dead tigers or one of the world's 17 biggest challenges, the question is always the same. So, what problem around you right now just needs a new way of thinking?